when we started, the day we started, we were not prepared at all. We just said we'll just open and see how it goes, and we had a good response. There were people coming in who wanted water, and we were not prepared. We didn't even have water, so we just had to go from the other shop, get it, and all that.
So basically, you learned everything from scratch.
Yeah, it was all on the job.
Your Origin Story is a podcast that uncovers the inspiring journeys of Goa's most successful people. Hosted at the Origin Goa, we dive into the challenges, motivations, and secrets behind their success. Tune in to be inspired by the origins of greatness.
Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Carlos Noronha, who, along with his brother, has transformed Caravela Cafe into something truly special. What began as a humble homestay in the heart of Panjim, serving only breakfast, has blossomed into a Goan institution with multiple locations. Under Carlos's leadership, Caravela has become a must-visit spot in the Goan cafe and coffee scene. But they didn't stop there. They also founded Latin Water Coffee, Goa's first coffee roastery, delivering some of the freshest coffees around. Recently, they even launched their own range of instant coffee under the same brand name, making their signature blends accessible to everyone. Today, we'll dive into Carlos's journey from local success to national acclaim and explore the dedication that keeps him moving forward. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sherwin.
So, Carlos, can you share a little bit about your background? What were your early influences and how did you get interested in the coffee and cafe world?
Yeah, Sherwin. So basically, I'm a BCom graduate in cost accounting, and I always had this love for food, as you can see for yourself. So, I mean, eating out since we were young was always something we would do every weekend, maybe a Sunday, usually head out to Panjim for breakfast or lunch. And after I graduated, my dad had this place that was there in Panjim. So this was in 2014. So he said, why don't we start something? So I said, we'll start a homestay because I personally have no experience in the hospitality industry. So I went and did an internship at my father's friend's hotel, which was in Vasco. So I did it for 2 months. I was in the front office in the reception, and he also had a cafe at the side. So majorly I was in the front of the house, and then I did the cafe for about 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
And then simultaneously, the work was also going on in the homestay, the renovations and all that. So we probably started in December 2014. That's when the homestay started.
Okay.
Then my brother at that point of time was in the 12th. So he finished that, and then he went on to do his diploma in food production.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That in Goa?
he did it in Goa. Yeah, in Siddharth, they had something called ACE. It is Academy of Culinary Education. So he did his diploma in food production, and then later on he started experimenting with dishes, and that's how we have a vast menu right now.
So you didn't have previous experience in hospitality?
No.
So you did that course so that you can enhance the experience or other in your business?
Yes.
Yeah. How did the homestay come up? Like, how did the business model come up in the first place?
So we had been to Coorg in the same year, and my dad's friend again, he has quite a few friends.
Okay.
So he had a friend there who has a very successful homestay. So he said, why not replicate something like that here in Panjim? Which at that point of time, if you go now and you see how the food scene in that area where we are now, it's come up to another level. But at that point of time, it was much more quieter. There were few establishments there that were running. So that's how we started. We started with 5 rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, and then slowly in 2015, we expanded. We took another place on the other side,
Okay.
which had another 7 rooms. So then we had a total of 12 rooms that we were running. and we started in the peak season. So we started on the 3rd of December 2014. So we were also relatively new to this. We didn't know, how to attract people to come and stay with us. So then we signed up on these OTAs that are online travel agents like your Booking.com, Make My Trip, and so on. So our first booking that we got was on Airbnb. Yeah, that was our first. It was a French father and daughter, yeah, Canadian French. And then we subsequently got quite a few bookings on Booking.com. But the thing with Booking.com at that point of time was they would not pay you upfront. So suppose you make a reservation, you book for a month, you pay at the hotel. So at that point of time, what we didn't know was that people would just book your place to get a visa for a visa purpose. So they would block your rooms, and then for us, we didn't know. We were very happy. We were getting a lot of business. But in reality, dummy bookings, they would book, get their visa and cancel.
So how did you manage?
So then we started asking them to send us an advance or something like that. And then slowly that started filtering it out. We started canceling the bookings. And then we would get genuine ones.
So how did you all transition from being only a homestay to solely being a cafe?
So the cafe was always there. The place was there downstairs. That we were using that as the breakfast for the homestay. So whoever was staying with us would have their breakfast. Then in 2015, when we got a few cooks, because as you know, I'm not from the industry. I had no knowledge about food. And we got 2 cooks who then we trained. We had a basic menu in mind. We just wanted to serve a few sandwiches, soups, and breakfast, eggs, and all that.
Very basic.
Very basic, yeah. So we had just a 1-page menu and we started. And we started the cafe. I mean, not formally like inaugurated it or something. We just started it on the 26th of February 2015.
So the following year you started the cafe.
Yes, yeah. And about 2 months. We started in 2014 December.
Okay.
And we started the cafe in
Otherwise it was just stay.
It was just a stay. There was furniture and all that for the coffee shop, but there was nothing. No, nothing. So even when we started, the day we started, we were not prepared at all. We just said we'll just open and see how it goes, and we had a good response. There were people coming in who wanted water, and we were not prepared. We didn't even have water, so we just had to go from the other shop, get it, and all that. So
basically, you learned everything from scratch.
Yeah, it was all on the job.
And it's crazy, because it's something that you don't know about and you're learning on the go.
Yeah.
So the thing I would like to ask you is, how was the experience? It's you and your brother Cyrus planning the business, family business. And your dad is there. How do you deal with disagreements? And it happens a lot.
Yeah. So my dad is like our role model, and whenever we have something to discuss and we don't agree upon, we'll all sit together. We'll list out the pros and cons of whatever it is we are discussing. At the end, we have to come up with a decision, either yes or no. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, there's no hard feelings if I don't disagree with you, and we just make an amicable solution.
So do you ever think that you would be starting a hospitality-related business when you were studying?
No, never.
I wanted to ask you about the transition part. Be more clear about the transition part, where you transition from being a homestay to solely being a cafe. Like, what was it? Was the business not doing well, or was it difficult to manage both cafe and the homestay, or what was it?
So the homestay was running till about 2020. That's when COVID started.
Okay.
And the other place that we had taken on rent, after COVID, there was a lockdown, so there were no people coming in.
Right.
So we couldn't basically manage to pay the overheads. They were too much for us.
Rentals are not making sense because there was no people not allowed to function.
So then we decided to give up that part.
Okay.
And then we had these 5 rooms decide. But the cafe was also doing well pre-COVID, say 2019.
Better than the homestay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because of that, we started our own bakery. We had a store. So we had all those things on the other side.
Okay.
So we had to bring that, what was not from our place, we had to bring it to our place. So we had to shut down our rooms because we had to convert one room into a store, one room into a bakery,
Okay.
and then one like first for the staff, so like the staff room. So we were left with just one room because the kitchen also, we had a small kitchen downstairs which we later shifted up because of the demand. We could cope with a small kitchen, but the workflow wasn't that good, so that's why we shifted up. So then we had just one room spare, so it didn't make sense to just operate with one room. And plus, running a homestay, you have people coming in at all odd timings of the night. Say someone wants to check in at 3, and because it's family run, we didn't have staff to check the guest in, so we would have to wait at whatever time they would come in. Should also inconvenience us sometimes. So running a coffee shop, you have set timings. You open at this time, you close at this time. So that made more sense for us.
How is the experience running a business like that? Because the hours are very odd. Right? Running a restaurant, a cafe, very odd, right? You have to be going for purchases early morning.
Yes.
We are late night.
So we are a breakfast place. We open at 8 in the morning. That's in Panjim. So we would probably have to get up at 6:30, and then go and do whatever shopping is required for the day. And then during the day also you have your supplies coming in.
Yeah.
So it's manageable. It takes some time to get into the routine, but after that it's all.
Do you think it's important to be having like a team? Because now you have your brother on board as well, which means you could divide the work. You think solely it would be possible, or is it an advantage that another person that you can divide your work with?
Yeah, it is an advantage. Right now we have 3 cafes.
Yeah.
So you do need a good team, but also you need to be hands-on. Say someone of your team doesn't come, say a cook doesn't come, you need to know what your dishes are, what goes in your dish. So in case there is a need, you can always go in the kitchen and make whatever is to be made.
Okay.
So that's how we have learned, both of us. If there is a need, you might see me in the kitchen, you might see my brother, you might see us making coffees, you might see us clearing tables. I mean, this is not my job. You have to do everything.
Yeah.
That's how it.
I mean, and I think that is a huge advantage, because tomorrow if somebody doesn't turn up, you have exposure to doing that particular job. So it doesn't matter. Then in the event that person doesn't turn up, you're always there to do it.
Yeah.
It's the owner of the business. Okay. So another question is regarding the food items or stuff that you were selling at the bakery. Were there items that didn't sell and you wanted to change something new?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. What is that one? What? Gin berry spritz. Gin berry spritz. So colors, that is gin berry spritz. It's got gin, cranberry juice, and prosecco.
Okay.
Cheers.
It's very refreshing.
Hey, welcome to the Origin. Come on in, let me show you around.
We are tucked away in a quiet village of Sarauli. And once you find us, you'll never want to leave.
Love sports? So do we. We screen all the live events. Just imagine enjoying the game with a cold drink in hand and an atmosphere like this.
And here at the Origin, we believe that a great drink and a good vibe are all you need to have an unforgettable time.
Our bands will have you tapping your feet in no time.
If things get a little wild, don't worry. What happens at the Origin stays at the Origin. Just like Vegas, but better cocktails, we have very own app.
Back to your topic, you were asking about dishes. So, as I told you, when we started, we just had a few dishes. But then when people came in, we always asked for their feedback, as in what they would want us to add.
Okay.
So there were people asking for pastas, pizzas, salads. So slowly we added one category at a time.
Okay.
First we did trials, obviously, and then once people were happy, then we put it on the menu.
Okay.
We also had hot dogs. We had quiches, which didn't move that much. So then you have to review and see what is moving, what is not moving, and cut that off.
Did you all initially have any particular cuisine that you all thought, okay, we could just follow that particular cuisine, or it was just like you guys had like your own input to say maybe this would be good, that would be good, and then you did a trial and error and see how people respond?
Yeah, that's how it was. So we didn't have one particular cuisine. It would be so when we started, we had something called like a paneer bhurji sandwich, which we started when we were 10 years. Now it's going to be 10 years back.
Still doing well.
We stopped in between because it wasn't moving. Then we reintroduced it about a year back.
Okay.
So it's all, I mean, how the customers take it. We have a Bombay sandwich that is very famous because it's a vegetarian sandwich. So you have potatoes, you have tomatoes, capsicum, green chutney. So it's how at the end of the day how the customer perceives it and how they like it.
Guys, for the vegetarian ones, we have the Bombay sandwich if you go to Caravela Cafe ever. And what about any suggestions for a non-veg option?
But yeah, if we have tons of non-veg and veg options, we have all-day Caravela breakfast, which you can either get in pork or chicken.
Okay.
We have a Goan breakfast now that we've introduced about a year back, which has your keema in beef or chicken. It has scrambled eggs with sausages. We have a vegetarian breakfast. We also have a vegan breakfast because there are quite a few vegans nowadays. So we have vegan options as well. So we have like a variety of options.
I personally love the Turkish eggs, Turkish eggs and the orange juice, man, it's godly. So regarding the building of the cafe, right? Did you all employ architects or designers? How did that part go about designing of the menu, designing of the layout of the kitchen, all those things? Like, could you run us through something?
Yeah, so the Panjim place, there was an architect because the building it had run down, so it had to be restored.
Okay.
So that was done prior to when I was there. So I had not seen how it looked earlier.
Yeah.
There are photos, of course. And we had where I'd done my internship, my dad's friend. So he came and he showed us how the layout of the kitchen should be and all that. And the rooms, as I told you, the construction was being done 2014. So just the building was there, just there to be a few like what do you say, partitions and all that.
So tell us a little more about your coffee brand, Latin Quarter. How did it come up? What was the idea?
So again, when we started the cafe, one of our main aims was also to serve good coffee.
Okay.
So at that point of time, we had one automatic machine, which is just you press the button, it gives you the coffee, it gives you the milk, all that. And then we had a few suppliers. So we started with Lavasa. Then we went on to another 2 suppliers. Then we saw that there was nobody roasting coffee in Goa itself at that point of time. So in 2019, we started the coffee brand. We got a roaster, a coffee roaster. It's a 5 kilo drum roaster that we have. And we've been roasting for the past 5 years now.
And who does that?
I do that. I personally roast. I mean, I have not got the time to teach someone else because it's a very meticulous process. You need to look at the temperature, the time, and few seconds here and there, your coffee taste can change drastically.
So regarding the roasting part, did you do any kind of course to understand how?
Yeah, I've not done any formal course, but I had my supplier from Coorg who has his own farm, and he's a roaster himself. So he came down. He was here for about a week. He taught us how to roast different types of roasts. He gave us a full idea about coffee, the different types. And so in roasting, you have like a dark roast, you have a medium roast, you have a light roast. So all those 3 things he taught us.
So your beans are sourced from Coorg?
From Coorg.
Okay. And if you have to suggest one of your products, coffee, what would you suggest to the audiences?
See, everyone has a different palate, but most sold coffee item is a cold coffee, a rich cold coffee, which you can't go wrong if you order it.
So regarding the sourcing of beans and all that, is all done by you, solely managed?
Yes,
by you.
but I went once initially before starting all this. We went to Coorg, me and my father. We had a look at the roastery, the farm and all, estate. And then we came back and then we decided what we were going to do. So initially we thought we would you get these small roasters which you put on the table, the electric ones, the Chinese ones. So initially we thought we would buy that. But then when we went to Coor, we met someone from Tata Coffee, and he explained to us that you get these bigger roasters. The smaller ones are not that efficient.
Okay.
So then that's when we decided we'd go for a bigger roaster.
Now, how is the brand Latin Quarter doing?
It's doing quite well. So we won two awards consecutive for 2 consecutive years from the Architectural Digest for the top, being in the top 10 brands of coffee brands of India. And besides that, we also get people who come to the cafe, they taste the coffee and they like it. They go back and they want to order. So we have orders, we ship all across India. So in case anyone wants, they can always contact us.
So regarding your initial location, which was Panjim, you guys opened a second cafe in
Kandoli.
Yeah. And the following cafe in Margao.
Yeah, we had one more in Panjim.
Oh, there was one more.
Yeah.
So how did you all come up with that location? Like, what was the thought behind?
So Kandoli, we had rooms there as well. We had serviced apartments,
Okay.
and we had a cafe there running for about 2 years. We shut it, and there was something else that came up. Then because of COVID, that closed. So that space was available. It was 2020 December when we opened the cafe in Kandoli, and it's been doing very well. We've recently shifted to a slightly bigger place from where it was earlier, which has indoor and outdoor seating. So that will be a year in October that we shifted to Kandoli place. Then we opened a smaller outlet in Panjim on 18 June Road, and that we opened in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was a bit small. We weren't getting the desired numbers, and so that's why we decided to close it. So just before closing, we had opened Margao. That was 2023 last year in May. So that was running, and then we decided to take a step to close the Panjima.
What is the reason why you selected Kandolim? I mean, not why. Why Kandolim? Any reason?
No particular reason. There was someone who had a space available, and they asked us, would we be willing to take it up?
Okay.
And also, it's a tourist belt there. So, same being Panjim is also a tourist belt, Kandoli is. So, that's why. And we already we know the ropes of how to run a cafe.
Yeah.
So, that's how we started.
And what about the cafe in Margao, South Goa?
Yeah.
How did that come up? What is the reason?
There were people asking when I come into the south, when I come into the south. So we were,
I think I was one of them.
yeah, we were looking at places. So Margao, Fatorda wasn't we had another place also in mind, but then that didn't go through. That was prior to 2023, I think 2022 or so. And then this place came up. They asked us, do you want to start? And we said, yes, why not? And then it's been a year now. It's quite good.
Yeah.
Then there aren't that many tourists though. There are more locals here. But yeah, there are quite a few repeats. So it means we're doing something well, I would say.
Which cafe, according to you, gets the maximum numbers? I mean, footfalls in terms of the location.
Kandoli, I would say.
Kandolim.
Yeah.
And do you think Kandolim is doing really well because of the amount of tourists coming there?
There are various factors, I would say. Tourists, now suppose you come in, you're a tourist, you don't know where to go. You just look it up on Google, say cafe near me.
Yeah.
We have quite a few good reviews, I would say.
Okay.
And then that would probably show up in your top 3 or top 2. And then you would say, okay, let's go here. Why not try it out?
Which means that I think even the Google reviews part
Yes,
plays a crucial
that
role in
does, yes.
See. What has been the most rewarding part of your journey running this business?
I would say the feedback from the customers, the good reviews, the word of mouth. People go and then someone would come and say, oh, so and so person recommended us to come here. I mean, we always go and speak to the customers. We ask them, sometimes we ask them, how did you end up coming here? And then that's how we come to know. It's either good word of mouth, reviews.
Now, how do you deal with unhappy customers? Suppose they're not happy with whatever they're eating or drinking.
See, I mean, everyone has a bad day, a one-off here and there. So you can't please everyone. But we try and do some damage control. Like suppose say you didn't like it, you didn't like your cocktail. If you would tell us at that point of time, rather than finishing it and saying I didn't like it. Once you finish it, we can't do anything about it. But if you if you suppose you're having it here and you stop and say, see, I didn't like it, so then we would ask you, what did you not like about this? If we could replace it, we can get you something else. And that's how you would probably stop your customer from having a bad experience.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little more about now you'll have multiple locations, right?
Yeah.
How I mean, how is it managing 3 locations?
Initially it was a bit tough, but if you have a good team, you have your SOPs in place, I don't think it's not that difficult. I mean, you just review it every day or every week and see how the numbers are. You also see your reviews. If there is a bad review, then you call up and ask why did this happen and what could be done or what could not be done.
So what does a typical day look for you? Because timings are very different for everyone.
Yeah.
So good.
So I mean, I wake up at about 6. Yeah, I'm at the cafe by. So Margao we open at 9. I'm there by around 8:30 or so. You just see that everything is ready. Your coffee machine is on. Your tables are set. Tissues, menus, everything is put in, and then you just wait for customers to come in. You greet them. That's how it is. I mean,
How is your experience with hiring of employees and maintaining staff?
yeah, the main hurdle, yeah, as you said, is maintaining staff. You have to keep them happy. I mean, that's the only way they will stay. Sometimes even if you do that, they will leave. So we've still not found that right balance, I would say. But but
anyone who has a restaurant
yeah.
is going to do the same thing.
I mean, but you'll always ask, are you hiring? I mean, I think you and I would both agree we're hiring throughout the year.
Yeah.
Then we'll never say no.
No,
You always say,
yeah. Call me up to say my waiter
Yeah.
take the money and run away. But yeah, so also again for the audiences or people who have these kind of businesses, like how would you, what tips would you give them, advice would you give them in terms of hiring staff, or what kind of tools, marketing tools would you use when you want to be employing or reaching out to people that need to be employed?
reaching out, we mostly do it through ads, classifieds.
Online ads you're talking about.
Yeah, newspaper, classic. Yeah. And I mean, then through Instagram ads as well. There are now people who are on Instagram looking out for jobs. They'll just send you a message, send you their CV. And it's up to you to interview the prospective employee of yours and see if he makes the cut and enters your team.
What about marketing? How do you all go about?
We have various tools, like you have your Instagram, Facebook posts, you have Google Ads.
And we have
Yeah. Yeah, they do a good job. They do good content. So anyone looking out, you can always approach them.
Okay. So Carlos, another last few questions for you. For those looking to start hospitality-related businesses, what advice would you give them?
As long as your product is good and your customer service is good and you can retain and get your clients back for the second or third time, I think that's the main thing you need to focus on.
Yeah.
And your quality of your product as well.
Well, how would you keep your customers or clientele, hooked on to coming to Caravela? Like, I am someone, if I genuinely enjoy something, I'll eat it 10 times, 20 times. But there are people who want to try out new stuff every time. So what is your take on that in terms of maybe introducing a new product, or how would you keep them hooked to come?
We do introduce new products, we do trials, and if we have our regulars there, we would always offer them to try it out. Like we've recently launched a chicken meatball sandwich. We've launched the Turkish eggs that you like. So we first do trials. We ask them how they like it, would they want us to put it on the menu.
Okay.
And then once they agree, and then we also agree, and then that's how we do it.
What about, I recently seen that you guys have been having events like paint and sip and high teas.
Yeah.
How's that going?
That's doing pretty well, because right now there's nobody doing it in the south, I would say. We've not yet started it in Panjim or Kanduni. because of space restraints. But in Margao, we have a space upstairs which we can do. So the high tea paint and sip. We're also planning a few more events, maybe next month, like a coffee tasting, coffee cupping, and all that.
Yes, very interesting. Coffee tasting, like how you have your beer tasting.
Yeah.
You know what's doing that?
In the south, no, there are people who are doing it in the north. Yeah, it's called cupping. So you just taste and you note whatever notes you get in the coffee.
So, Carlos, have you had any incidents where there's a complaint from the guest regarding a particular food item or drink, and it's actually been the product has been perfect, but a guest is trying to simply create a scene, probably with a review. Has that happened?
Yeah, many times. Like even when we started, I would say that was the first experience. Like because as I said, I didn't have any experience. So there was this couple who had come in,
Yeah.
and I think they were looking at free Wi-Fi. So they came in, they said they placed their order, their sandwiches were given to them, and it was an egg and cheese. That time we used to do an egg and cheese sandwich. So they had that, they were eating, and then they asked for the Wi-Fi password. So we didn't give them the Wi-Fi. We said the Wi-Fi is just for our personal use. And after about 5 minutes, they said this sandwich doesn't taste good at all. There's no egg. We don't want to pay for it. And I mean, that's like your first time you're getting something, you don't know how to react. I mean, I was fairly new to it. So I said, I mean, what is the problem? They said there's no taste of anything, it's tasteless. So the sandwich was already half eaten. At that time, being fresh, I just said, okay, fine. I mean, we'll take it off. But then I took it to the kitchen, I gave it to the chef. He cut a small piece of the part that was not eaten. It was fine. And then maybe then we realized that they just wanted the Wi-Fi, and because of that, they were just creating an issue. These petty things.
There's many times that people, specifically at your cafe, that they would just come and probably have one coffee or some water and sit there for hours.
Yeah.
And just trying to take advantage of the space. There are so many people wanting a seat there, and they have to wait because of people like this.
Yeah, no. So now we've introduced this new rules that some people are not too happy about, but so we don't allow laptops at our cafe.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly because we are restricted with space. If you've been to a Panjam outlet, we have only 8 tables. Suppose somebody comes and occupies one table and sits for 5-6 hours just ordering one coffee, it does not make any sense. Also, say you come in, the new rules that we have is beverage, just a beverage order. So you come in and just order a beverage, and if the cafe is full, we'll give it to you as a takeaway.
I won't come back.
You'll have to order something to eat or something like that. So yeah.
And like, do you all have a limit on, like, suppose this cafe is full and one table moves and there's only one person who wants to have one beverage, is the person still allowed to sit there?
No, I mean, if it's just a beverage order, then we'll tell them. I mean, we've put a notice on the door as well, so we'll just inform them that so and so is the thing. We'll give it to you at the
Like,
take.
the extra people you can send them here to teach.
Sure.
They are welcome, everyone. So, my final question to you: what plans do you have for Caravela or your brand and Latin Quarters, a brand? Anything new, exciting that's coming up? Or
So Latin Quarter, we want to expand our reach. We want to probably make it live online, like Amazon. Want to start selling on Amazon and the other online
you mean the
portals.
products being sold online?
Yes, it's like your coffee, the instant coffee, and all those other things. We also want to probably start a few more cafes
Wow.
if we get suitable locations.
We'll give you a location.
Yeah. And we're looking at growing our brand. Basically, that's what we want to do.
I think that's about it, Carlos. It was a great time. It was nice hosting you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. And thank you, everyone who's watching. So, Carlos, everything good otherwise, but you were really upset that your part didn't come. Cyrus, is there any reason? He didn't even.
Yeah, he was unwell.
He was on. That's a lie, guys.